is nothing. Only warm primordial blackness. Your conscious ferments in it, no larger than a single grain of malt. You don't have to do anything anymore. Ever. Never, ever. An inordinate amount of time passes. It is utterly void of struggle. No ex-wives are contained within it.
An awareness creeps up on you. A mass lies hidden in your dead angle, soaking in some lurid acidic sauce. It's bloated and shameful, a pool of meat surrounding you. This is a terrible line of questioning, and it will only lead to more awareness of the meat thing.
Ex-love. Ex-tenderness. It is foolish of you to resurface to the loss. Not after all the damage you suffered to get here. Some of it irreversible. Stay. Sail with me through the abyss of pelagic zone. Alright, nothing town to fuck all borough. Do you want me to upgrade that to a one-way trip, sir? The song of death is sweet and endless. But what is this? Somewhere in the sore, bloated man-meat around you. A sensation. Like a fly to the ointment, your conscience sticks to it. The limbed and headed machine of pain and undignified suffering is firing up again. It wants to walk the desert, hurting, longing, dancing to disco music.
The stench of liquor rises from your mouth, and with it, an ungodly headache. A fiery streak penetrates your skull, trying to force your eyes open. It's a sound, a clarion call from hell.
Somehow, you know what it is. A caprice to name a motor carriage. hear a jingle. Keys are clinking in the pocket of your flare-cut pants. It says "whirling in rags" on the aluminium keyring. There is a single key on the ring. The number 1 is etched on it. It should open the door. The Whirling in Rags is a hostel cafeteria on the urban coast, frequented by dock workers. The window stands broken in its frame. Cold wind blows in. The morning light hurts your eyes. It's hazy, but you see the ocean and some war-torn buildings. The shards face outward. Whatever broke this window came from the inside. A fine web of scarring covers the back of your right hand, but none of it is recent. More likely a projectile than a held object. There are no fragments on the floor from pulling a tool back in after impact. It is too large for a bullet, yet too small for a piece of furniture. You're looking for something heavy and larger than your fist. The single green shoe you found fits the hole almost as well as your foot. It would have also been heavy enough if thrown with force. Congratulations, you smashed the window with your own shoe. Now you only have one. If you're lucky, you could still find the other one on the balcony outside. The door to it should be outside your room. You mean someone else took your shoe off and smashed the window with it? This person also forced the drinks on you. A cool wind gushes in. Your toes curl up from the cold. A mirror hangs above a bent and broken sink. In a fierce discharge of masculine energy, someone has ripped half the faucet off. Was this not the same Elo that founds empires and lays waste to cities, virile, uncaring towards the little things? Probably not, no. Hot water sprays from the faucet's base, and steam covers the mirror. You cannot see yourself, just a vague impression of a man. Suddenly, you realize you have no memory of the face that awaits you there, underneath the soft vapor. As you slowly reach your hand towards the surface of the mirror, behold, you have no idea who this thing is, do you? Whatever it is, at least it's dead now. There's clearly rigor mortis on your face. Oh wait, is that an expression? Are you trying to make an expression with that face? Please stop. It's horrible. You're scaring yourself. Oh my God. You can't stop. It's like it's not even voluntary anymore. You have worn that grin into your face and now it won't come off. What does it even mean? What is the emotion you're trying to convey? Please promise yourself you are not going to try it on any of the ladies, whatever happens. That's right. Not even yourself. Go ahead, try something. It's not an order. A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. In it, your face, adorned with the expression. It belongs in the new, the third decade of the current century. Enough time had passed from the failure of the revolution that, for a fleeting moment, free market economy seemed like the ultimate, uncontested way of life for our species. Things were good. It was smooth sailing. People made gold and champagne-tinted interiors and facades to suit the times, calling this the new style. But more importantly, disco happened. For Revachol, your city, that meant only one thing. Guillaume le Million. If it doesn't rhyme, you're not pronouncing it right. Out of the dazzling swirl of disco music, in an open-air boîte de nuit, somewhere in Revachol West, Guillaume's blonde mane appeared on the screen. He sang some bullshit. Then he made the expression. Everyone loved it. Maybe you thought some of the stardust would rub off on you. Maybe it did. Either way, it's all gone now. Only the grimace remains. Some 20-odd years. There is a vast ocean of time between right now and the expression. Looking good on you, or anyone. Humanity has run aground in that time. It's a different world now. The expression is a relic. You have some understanding of the near history of disco. The rest is darkness, aside from the useless fact that the motor carriage outside was a caprice cinema. It doesn't have to be. You can swoon over Guillaume and his champagne-corked smile whenever you want to. Maybe some of the stardust will return. This fan has two chain pull switches. One ends in a tiny fan, the other in a light bulb. A truly horrific necktie has somehow attached itself to one of the blades. You reach out to grab the tie, but what's this? Diffuse, radiating chest pain. Doom comes over you. This is bad. Feels like sharp stones grinding in your chest and keeping you from moving. For quite a long time. Still ongoing. Now is a good time to start worrying. Finally, the pressure recedes. You find yourself covered in cold sweat and trying not to move, hoping it will keep you from dying. You know what you should do. You should stop the fan and then try again. It'll get easier. Do it if you want to die. The stabbing pain in your chest is telling you. You're hanging by a thread here. The blades come squeaking to a halt. It should be easier to reach the tie now. You swoop up and catch the tie. Snap. It's released from the blade. What you have in your hand is a truly hideous necktie with 4 or 5 different patterns. The knot reminds you of a noose. A terrible mistake. Turn the lights off immediately. You can practically feel the photons burning a hole in your brain. The lights are off. The young woman raises a cigarette to her lips. Her eyes are brown and her face is speckled with birthmarks. She can't be more than 28. A silver jumpsuit falls off her like scale armor, sparkling. This is the sparkle of too many nights out on the city.
No. Because you're a police officer, sir. You've been here for 3 days, on official police business, no less. I couldn't say. In truth, so far, mostly drinking. Of course. Be careful, officer. They don't like the police around here.
Something stirs in you as she's about to go. Call it an instinct, a need. The need to ask questions. It's like you've said the words 1,000,000 times before. She looks back at you, a light glinting off her eyes.
Yes? The dock workers are pretty cocky. They think they're police enough. At least here on the coast. I can't say about the rest of the city. You're in a hostel, sir. We are in Revachol.
Revachol is the disgraced former capital of the world, divided into zones of control under foreign occupation. Half a century after a failed world revolution, she is central to our moment in time.
You sure look like you're from Revachol. Revachol parties.
Her accent suggests she is not from around here. She's from Aranier, another part of the world.
It's 51. The current century? Centuries don't have numbers, they have names, and this is the current one. Civilization has existed for 8,000 years, sir. You're right. There is nothing funny about civilization. There was the usual ruckus, loud disco music. I couldn't say. It's impossible to hear people speaking from over here. Oh, yes. Various artists. Ostentatious orchestration prime among them.
Oh, that. Yeah. Whoa. The less said about OO, the better.
OO were huge where I come from. I was very young then, of course, like 7. Life gets hard, but we go on. It would appear so. At around 2 o'clock, the disco stopped and there was a change of pace. A slow, sad song started playing, like organ music on repeat. That went on for quite a while. Some of the time, you were yelling along to it. Yes, there was a church in there, a really small church, like the smallest, saddest church in the whole world. It was about that. And also that it doesn't matter anymore and that we're alone now. It was difficult to tell. The song itself was very quiet and soft, but you sounded like a winded boar, sir. It was hard to understand what you were singing on top of it. Then you started screaming and trashed the place. No, it didn't sound like there was a fight. It sounded like someone was trashing their room. A window was smashed. The tape player, probably. The song stopped, And furniture, too. A real destructathon. There was screaming. Then I think you passed out. There was. I think you screamed that you didn't want to be this type of animal anymore. I may have misheard, but it was sort of memorable. I went out afterwards. Everything was quiet by then, around 4 or 5. And that was it. Glad to have been of assistance.
There they both are, 2 identical shoes, both copiously green and indiscriminately snakeskin, reunited on your feet, like 2 baby crocodiles. It's pretty clear a normal cop is not what you are. Good, they're balanced, comfy. Feels like the only good thing about you right now, truth be told. You should totally sing karaoke here, the first chance you get. Your emotions need to be expressed. People need to know your vast, oceanic soul. Utterly. And it needs to be heard. Through a PA system. By other people. You should sing the sad small church song from that tape you found. Thought it was obvious. Serves them right. Wipe that smirk off their face with your sad, tragic, small church song. Who's laughing now? No one. You would need another copy of the tape first, though. The one upstairs is destroyed. Everything is cool between you and this guy. He's a big fan. Make some small talk. This is the Great Skua. The seabird is the symbol for the discovery of the Insulindian Isola, the part of the world you are in right now. The small steel tag says as much. The Great Skua. Ste Koarius Skua.
Look, your buddy is over there. Why don't you go and talk to him, okay? No, I'm not the bartender. I'm the cafeteria manager.
He's very animated all of a sudden. This seems like a touchy subject.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, sweetie. You shouldn't keep your colleague waiting.
On the sleeve of his bomber jacket, as well as on its back, are the same enigmatic white rectangles as on your blazer.
Hello, I'm Kim Kitsuragi, Lieutenant, Precinct 57. You must be from the 41st.
Concentration makes you squint your eyes. Your name should be deep gold and orange, like a forest fire looming on the horizon, but mixed with the stench of liquor rising from your breath. You're 2 steps closer to it, but there are still many to go.
Okay then. It looks like we had a little scheduling error on Sunday. Saturday too, actually. Have you had time to talk to the manager here?
What he means is, he has been trying to meet up with you for 2 days, but you have been otherwise occupied.
If you don't mind, we should talk to him again. Ask him for a rundown of the area. Now that I'm here as well. I understand the scene is out back, right? It also wouldn't hurt to assure him the police are finally here. In full force, I mean. Have you mapped out the initial interviews? At the 57th, we like to prepare an initial list of persons of interest, and then just skim the surface. Prepare the field, get to know the players. You don't do that? Maybe it's not an inter-district practice. Okay, we'll have time for that after we take a look at the coroner's case. Have you removed the dead body from the tree? Mm-hmm. So, the body is still in the tree, where it has been hanging for 7 days straight. We should go there as soon as we are done talking to the owner. Talk to the manager. Then we go out back and take the body down. I can see you drank last night and the night before, and that you are still drunk now. But I have seen officers go through worse. Much worse. If you need something for your headache, there is a general store nearby. But as I said, the dead body should be our #1 concern. After you, officer.
If you're about to embark on an investigation, shouldn't you have a badge?
You mean you don't have a badge? Losing your identification card is a serious matter. My vehicle has a shortwave. You can use it to report your badge missing. I advise you to try to locate it as quickly as possible, but getting the body down should still take precedence.
The theme on that pinball machine is a standard royalist theme, used on everything from pinball cabinets to full-flavor cigarettes. Clinging to a picture book version of the past century, waiting for the king to come back and cast out all the profiteers and homosexuals. Basically, imagine a yellow plastic crown with a liquor brand emblazoned on it. The contemporary period stands still. The fated carousel of progress that doomed the royalists is itself winding down. Our time is decelerating into what no one knows.
What do you want to know? Maybe you can tell me what you do know to help me narrow it down a bit. Do you want me to brief you? 3 days ago, The RCM Emergencies Desk received a report about a security guard who was found hanged in Martinez. An anonymous caller said there was a dead body behind the Whirling in Rags hostel cafeteria. The cadaver had been there for 4 days. No one had come to investigate. During that time, the victim had been stripped of his belongings. The caller did not identify him, but used the word lynching. There is an ongoing labor dispute between the local dock workers and the logistics company Wild Pines. I was told we should approach the death as part of this dispute. To find him or her is one of our tasks here. For now, all we know is that the tone was muffled using a device of some sort. The desk could identify neither the caller's age nor sex. There's a strong prejudice against involving the RCM in what's seen as union matters. The dock workers' union is the de facto police in Martinez. Now it appears they've started executing too. We cannot allow that. That's us, the Revachol Citizens Militia. We're the police in this city.
The RCM, or the Revachol Citizens Militia, is the police force you and him are part of. A self-organized peace corps of the occupied city of Revachol. The RCM operates within a legal twilight, yet its authority is rarely questioned. It's super useful to know this.
That's right. You mean like a brief? Do you want me to brief you again? 3 days ago, during that time, the victim had been stripped of his belongings. A security guard or worker of some sort hired by Wild Pines. This was just hearsay from Martinez, of course. We need to find out the truth. To find him or her, there's a strong prejudice against involving the RCM in what's seen as union matters. The dock workers' union is the de facto police in Martinez. That's right. No, it's not a particularly mysterious case. The deceased is a security guard for a corporation involved in a labor dispute. It doesn't take a DeLorean polymath to put the pieces together. I just don't see the case getting more mysterious than that. There was some interest in this case at my station, but not for the reasons you have in mind. You seem to wish there was a... Yes, it just so happens there's a beautiful blonde 19-year-old woman at the heart of this case. A rich one, in fact, part of a murder sex cult.
The weary tone is the surest indicator that the lieutenant is being sarcastic.
Extremely.
It can still be an otherworldly sex mystery in your head, with a dark twist even. He's basically challenging you to sex it up with some lurid twist. Don't get right into it. Sit on it a bit, then hit him with it.
I'm afraid you and I are pawns in a pissing competition. You don't know? I assumed you were in on it. Better still than an imbecilic cop-off. It's just stupidity. We shouldn't waste any more time on it. If you want my take, ask me after we've inspected the victim. Later. Was there anything else you wanted to know about the case? Good.
He's having trouble processing it, believing it even.
Have you tried concentrating on something other than your personal affairs? Not a fan. It's just the nature of lieutenancy.
The RCM deploys a self-styled structure called the Decomptage as its chain of command. Every lieutenant is responsible for 2 sergeants and 8 officers. That means the average lieutenant has to deal with quite a few personal affairs. Even you know this.
Try work, the case at hand. It can work miracles. Fine. We should get through this day first. Off hours begin at 9 p.m. If you're still having trouble then, I can give you an orientation. Focus on other people's troubles, not your own. That is a relief. Me? I don't see how my life is pertinent to the investigation. That's a fair point. All right, for the good of the investigation, what do you want to know? That's correct.
You feel a slight urge to put the lieutenant down for this, but you can't quite muster enough testosterone.
Are they? They are mostly just cumbersome. That's because I'm half Seolite, or quarter. My father's father was from Seoul, so was my grandmother, but from my mother's side. It's not an interesting topic. It's a part of the world, officer. A geopolitical entity, and a geographic division. I told you it wouldn't be interesting.
Seoul is a protectionist, isolationist, pan-Isolary state west of the Insulindian Isola. Actually, it's quite interesting. Some would even say mysterious.
You're barking up the wrong tree. I don't speak a word of Seolite. I've never met either one of my grandparents, and I've never been to Seoul. I'm a regular Rêvacholière.
A point of pride to him.
No.
It's like you're locked down.
Something the matter, detective?
What's going on? It's like you're a puppet in his hands.
What do you mean? I have no idea what you're talking about.
The lieutenant's conceptualization skills must be rather rudimentary.
What? Think? I do most of my work inside my notebook.
We all have our different mediums. His is written.
What do you mean? I have no idea what you're talking about.
The lieutenant's conceptualization skills must be rather rudimentary.
I can't say that it does, no. When I need to think, I just use my notebook.
We all have our different mediums. His is written.
Good. Let's change the subject. Excuse me? You have a distinctive way of walking. If I were to walk in front of you, we would surely collide. I hope you don't take this the wrong way. It's just a collegial observation. In the 57th, we call it the Jamrock Shuffle. Officers from Jamrock's 41st Precinct tend to move a bit erratically. They say it's a scene-clearing technique developed by one of your lieutenants for gathering evidence. It's erratic, yet thorough. Prioritizes containers.
Yes, but containers contain things, shiny things. They're interesting.
I don't know. Containers contain, I guess. I'm making assumptions. We should move on.
Before you stands a motor carriage. The bodywork is covered in blue and white livery, bearing the number 57. Vapor emanates from the large engine on the back of the vehicle. It hasn't had time to cool off yet. This must be the infernal machine that tore you from oblivion. The Caprice Kinema motor carriage. In the cabin, you are welcomed by a set of steering levers, a radio microphone on a hook, a pull-out toolbox under the seat, and the soft glow of the fuel preheater gauge. A scent of leatherwork and heavy fuel oils washes over you. The frequency tableau lights up, and the green button labeled Prime Line glows like a feline eye. And then you hear something. The soft purr of electrical kittens, radio waves cast far and wide over the metropolis. A woman's voice greets you through the static.
This is Precinct 57. Hello, Lieutenant. How may I assist you?
Hello, Alice. Please assist our colleague from the 41st Precinct here. I'm putting him on.
Operating the radio is easy. Just be confident. You've probably done it 1,000 times.
This is Officer Alice Demetri, Precinct 57. How may I assist you?
Under the green Prime Line, a yellow saved button catches your eye. I wonder what Kim's default radio station is.
Just a second, officer.
Ten 2, 10-5. This is 41st. Come in. Over.
The man uses relay code. You've got this. You're a cop, and cops know relay code.
10-4, message received. 10-5, relay message. What's your status? Over. 10-18, state your message, sir. Ten-9, over. 10-4, message received. This is a very serious situation. I need to 10-22 the captain. Over.
Is it him? What does he want?
Says he lost his badge and needs to report it.
He what? He lost his badge?
Who lost his badge?
Dick fucking Mullen. Who do you think?
It's Officer Dick Mullen from the bestseller Dick Mullen and the Lost Identity.
Dick Mullen is not your name. It's the name of a fictional detective who would not lose his badge. Defend yourself. Immediately. They're laughing at you.
Ten-4, I hear you, officer. I'm just going to make a note here that you are in pursuit of your misplaced badge. Over.
Fuck me. Mac, come here. You've got to hear this. Dick Mullen lost his badge. Super Cop here lost his badge.
His badge. He lost his goddamn fucking badge.
Ten-9, come again. I didn't get that. Over.
New heights even for Captain Sober.
Sergeant Orson wants to know if you lost your gun too. Over.
Check your pockets. Check your... Holy fuck. You don't know where it is, do you? Okay, it's gone. Your gun is most definitely gone.
10-9, come in, officer. Did you get my question? We were wondering about your gun. Over.
Lying over the phone? It's easy. Just say it like it's the truth, and then it becomes it.
He says he didn't.
Thank God for that. That would have been a nightmare. I don't even want to imagine the poor prick who has to relay that kind of news to the captain. Losing his badge is bad enough. Tell him to find it, and fast. We can't have some gangbanger running around with it.
We're all glad to hear you've not lost your gun, officer. You need further assistance? Over. Then 4, I know I already wrote it in a report, but it will stay on my desk for a few days. Over. Okay, 10-4, sir. I hear you. Relay your question. Over.
Wait. Before you say anything stupid, think it through. Be smart about this. Ask if he's there alone.
10-4, sir. I'm not hearing your question. That's a negative, sir. I got 10-12 visitors present here. Over.
What? What is it? He's still on the line?
He wants to verify the information on his badge.
Tell him to stop wasting time.
What do you need, sir? Over. Understood, sir. Over. Roger that. 10-10. Over and out.
Inside. You see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone, a pull-out toolbox, and the soft glow of the fuel preheater gauge. A metallic drawer slides out from under the seat and clicks into place. The tools inside are neatly organized.
Take what you need, officer. It's going to be a long case. I'm not protective of my tools, like some men are.
The pry bar feels nice and cold in your hand, heavier than you'd think. Useful for opening all sorts of doors and lids. The handles are long and sleek. Snap, snap, go the cutters in your hand. You can do good work with these. Cut chains, locks, and ropes, especially belts. It's robust, weatherproof, and well-made. Police issue, blue. Lets you see things in the dark you would otherwise miss. The pull-out toolbox slides back into its nest. Preheater gauge casts a warm glow on the steering levers and the radio on its hook. The white suede feels luxurious under the touch, and the metal clutch handle so very familiar in your palm. As you tap on the gauge, the indicator pin jerks as if startled. It's in the large orange sector, indicating the engine is warm. Next to the gauge is a red switch labeled heat.
There's no use pressing the heat button. It won't start without the ignition key.
Translation. We're not going anywhere right now.
This is Precinct 57. How may I assist you?
A flock of seagulls takes off nearby, startled by the roaring radio. Right away, the lieutenant reaches into the cabin and turns off the radio. He's not looking at you as he says,
Someone must have been messing with the radio, or maybe picked up a random frequency. You wanted a prime line, right? Oh, is that what it was called?
Go for it. Turn the radio back on while it's still on the Speed Freaks FM.
God damn it! Look, it helps me to stay alert on long nights, okay? It's a method. I'm not some kind of speed freak or... You would be too if you had this motor carriage. But seriously, let's quit joking around, alright? We have a case to investigate.
This is Precinct 57. Can I connect you to someone? 57, over and out.
In the cabin, you see a set of steering levers, a radio on a hook, a pull-out toolbox, and the soft glow of the fuel preheater gauge. That sugary black rum stain on the counter makes you teary-eyed with joy. It's almost touching how syrupy and sticky it is. How long have you been up already? An hour would have been bad. 2 hours is mystical. You have truly wiped out all trace of yourself if you haven't thought about rum and lemonade yet. Maybe you haven't turned out well for your drinking. Have you thought about that? Get a goddamn rum and lemonade into yourself, boy. Or better yet, lick that stain off the counter. What happened, man? You used to be cool. Go get your boring normal person drink then. Get your drink on and your act together. A colourful piece of plastic is dangling from his carabiner. Makes your fingers itch. On the counter, rolled out of his open hand, you see a blister pack of headache medicine. It's a dock worker's ID, doubling as a shift card and a job permit. A young, able-bodied man stares back at you from the photo. Santiago S. John.
No idea. Looks like he works for Wild Pines, the logistics company who owns and operates the harbor. Possibly because there's a strike going on in the harbor, there's not much to do aside from drinking and sleeping.
Your fingers find their way into the shackle, flicking open its spring-loaded gate. The metal loop holds the plastic ID and a leather-bound pocketbook. The man emits a loud snore. Is he about to wake up? Doesn't look like it, but you never know. Better be quick. No, he's looking the other way, perhaps purposefully. You slip the plastic ID card out of the loop and pocket it. The man continues to snore. Just for the record, you look nothing like the man on the document. The sleeping dock worker has little to say about your actions. He remains silent. The man does not mind. You probably need them more than he does.
Mr. Gart, right? You run this place.
Yes.
I am Kim Kitsuragi from Precinct 57. This is an inter-district investigation, so joining me from Precinct 41... Right. Now, I know it took us a while to arrive at the scene. It also took you a while to call us and report the dead body. It was you who placed the call, yes?
No, I only just got here. It was probably Sylvie who called you. She usually works the bar here. I'm only temporarily taking over her duties.
Do you have her number?
As a matter of fact, I do.
This sounds like something you can use to call this Sylvie later.
You said you just got here. From where? Are you a local?
What, of Martinez? No, I live in Jamrock. I only sometimes come here to keep an eye on the place. This is just one of the many, many cafeterias I manage.
But you still know your way around, yes? In case we need directions.
Yes, I know where some things are, but as I said, I don't live here. I just used to work here. And I'm not going to start working here again, if that's what you think.
I didn't imply that. Detective.
He probably means this is where you step in and ask your questions. Ask him about the body's location before asking if he killed him. People give up information in the more innocuous questions, which you can later use in the more sinister ones, not vice versa.
Behind this building, there's a courtyard. They hoisted him up on a tree there. That's easy. See that door there? First you exit through that. Then, to your right, you should see a big hole in the fence. A really big one. You can get to the courtyard through there. No need for the keys. The hole is big enough for the Franco-Nigerian cavalry to fit through.
This man means the heavy cavalry of the innocents Franco-Negro, sweeping over the plains and nations of the enemies of mankind. 5th century style. Unified currency and the concept of cool came in their wake. They wore lamella and carried guns. But first and foremost, Franco-Nigerian heavy cavalry was really, really wide. That hole in the fence must be enormous.
She went away because none of your business.
Have they not been telling you you're a cop?
Okay, you got me. She went away because of the dead body out back. And because I asked for her number. That's why Sylvie went away. I hope you appreciate that.
Thank you.
I asked an employee out. She didn't want to come, but felt obliged to. It was a bad idea. Now, what is so goddamn fascinating about that for you? It's got nothing to do with the lynching. Good for you. Was there something else? I'd like to get back to what I was doing. I don't know who killed him. I'm not the police. That's your job.
This is it. He said they hoisted him up on a tree. Who is this they, if he doesn't know?
Oh, people are saying it was the union dock workers, that it was a lynching. The locals, the customers, the people who eat here, a lot of dock workers eat here. Sylvie told me everyone knows the dock workers did it.
Did the debarders themselves tell her this, or is it a rumor?
I don't really know. You'll have to ask her. I would suppose it's because they have nothing better to do.
You mean the strike?
Yes, the strike. The man they hanged was a security guard for the harbour company, I hear. A mercenary. The unionistas probably thought they'd send a message.
Let's go.
Not so fast. You owe me 130 real. Oh, excuse me. You owe me 130 real.
The IIR, or Inter-Isolary Real, is the global reserve currency. Whatever part of the world you're in right now, it's safe to assume he means you owe him some money.
Wow, you're a genius. Yes, that's right, money. You owe this establishment 130 real. Let's see. 3 nights at a tariff of 20 real comes to 60 real. Then there's the window you annihilated. The hole in the window was the first thing I saw when I came to work. So don't try to tell me you didn't. That will be 40 real in damages. Another thing you've annihilated is half the bar. You've run a tab of 30 real. Actually more, but we'll round it down to 30 for your hard work maintaining the stability and order of Revachol. That's 60 plus 40 plus 30 equals 130 real. And yes, real is still money. What are you, a philosopher? Money is what grown-up people use to pay for things. Things like this hostel room, or 8 bottles of potent blend, and 9 packs of Royal Extra. We use it for everything, really. For survival, to pay me. Unless you want to become a hobo. Do you want to become a hobo? There's nowhere else to stay in Martinez, and it's a cold spring outside. Money doesn't make you happy, but it lets you be unhappy for a while longer. If you run out of money, you die. It's like that for all of us. Me too. That's why I need you to pay me. I'm not an asshole. Are you serious? From your work? I don't know. You can take bribes, I guess. I'm sorry. I don't think cops can take bribes.
Some do take recompense, but only to survive.
I'm sorry, but he has to pay. I can't let him stay here any longer if he doesn't. If he doesn't have the money by tonight, then...
Officer, maybe you're better off working this from home for now. You live in Jamrock, right? It's not that far away. Officer, you really need to take this up with your station. I have a shortwave radio in my car. Call them, ask for assistance. We have to get this investigation started now.
Good luck.
By the way, where is home? The address is coming up blank, and this place sure isn't it. But you've been at this hostel cafeteria for only 3 nights. Where were you before? You had to be somewhere. In time or space? That doesn't sound like somewhere you can stay if you run out of money. You can try. Run some addresses in your head when you get the time. Maybe a street or an apartment will appear.
Kuno's got this!
If there ever was such a thing as an ugly kid, then this is it. He's almost exquisite in his ugliness, like a gremlin.
Oh yeah, nappa comfy, Kuno! Right in the dick, Kuno! Get him right in the dick!
Love it in the dick.
The boy is sweating profusely. His eyes are like two black holes and his jaw is twitching as if trying to break free from the empire of his body. The kid is obviously high.
Fuck that! Kuno, yeah! Right in the mouthhole!
Shits himself?
The rake, Kuno! You should throw the rake at him, Kuno!
The fuck? Does Kuno know what a rake is? Kuno's not a gardener.
We shouldn't do anything. I don't tempt such forces. You will see.
The language these kids are using, pure unfettered id. There will be no reasoning with those creatures.
The fuck are you talking about?
He's calling us Kuno! He says we're fucking each other!
Active decay. It's okay to throw up, officer. No one is judging.
He's about to blow! Cop's gonna blow, Kuno!
The smell is repulsive. It pushes in from your mouth, more instant and more familiar than anything you'd expected, more fever than odor. It fills your mind, flushing you from within. You feel a great force ringing from your stomach. Your body curls and pushes it out, burst by burst, until a pool of vomit lies under your feet and your throat stings from the stomach acid. The smell of Commodore Red rises from the pool. Among it, distilled spirit and bits of shish kebab.
It's okay. Happens to everyone. Keep it. The hangover is clearly making this worse for you. You could use some ammonia to clear your head. If you can handle the headache, some officers use it to deal with cadaverine odor. I can't handle the headache.
It's more likely he can handle the smell, unlike you.
There is Frit nearby, east of the hostel. They usually have a small apothecary. If they don't... There's a greenhouse here, and a gardener with a wheelbarrow on the corner of the whirling in rags. If she works here, she might have something for the smell.
Pretty clever.
Kuno, the pig's getting pretty close to me. Come to snuff my shit out, I think.
This trash container is locked. The sliding lid has a padlock that says, whirling in rags. Maybe you're prioritizing it.
We could try using a pry bar, the one you took from my motor carriage, or we could ask for a key from the manager of the Whirling in Rags. He probably has one.
He might also have information. This is better than the pry bar idea. There are several footprints in the mud, left by work boots. Anywhere from 6 to 12 pairs have walked here. Maybe more than 12. No, 8 pairs of boots have shuffled back and forth in the mud. 1. Standard work boot, steel reinforced toes, number 46. 2. Standard work boot, steel reinforced toes, number 44. 3. Hobnailed work boot, steel reinforced toes, number 43. 4. Standard work boot, number 45 or 46. You don't know. It's a miracle you can tell the prints apart as it is. The cold must have preserved them. 5. Another standard work boot, steel reinforced toes, number 44. 6. An aberration, light as air, even pace, same make of boot, but number 41. Impossible to tell. Could also have been an adolescent. the gate is undeveloped. You're not bad. It's as if the whole world darkens. Everything else has a thin film of unimportance on it, and the tracks burn in the middle of it, in a strange, beautiful way. 7. The glowing outline of a standard work boot, number 46. But the imprints are twice as deep as the others. The weight exceeds 200 kilograms. 8. And yet another standard work boot, number 44. There's an aberration in the pattern of the sole, however. The right sole is smoother, more worn.
How many? I was pretty off then. I counted 20. I never got the hang of it. Hyperopia. Do you see anything out of the ordinary? A woman or a kid? Understood. Anything else? 200? Could it be the combined weight of two people, one carrying the other who's tied up? Let's say a heavily built worker carrying a similarly built, soon-to-be-dead man.
He might be right. 200 kilograms of living weight is unlikely.
I do. One of them carried him over.
But why?
Yes, they could have used a makeshift stretcher or just march him up to the gallows. You have a point there. Anyway, it's something to consider. What else can you see? Interesting. Let's name it the Old Soul. Someone operating a workbench with a pedal? Like a joiner at the harbor. Or maybe a drummer? No, it's not. Forget I said it. We are not looking for a drummer. Perhaps it could be a driver. A driver would wear out the right shoe before the left. The accelerator is on the right. We should keep our eyes open around the traffic jam. See whether anyone strikes out as a potential suspect. Seems prudent, no? You're right. Let's keep a low profile. A week, maybe? 7 days would fit the time frame provided to us by the caller, who reported the hanging.
It is not impossible.
I pulled last week's forecast for coastal Havashol. 7 days below freezing. The day before, the day of his hanging, was the last warm day.
Correct again. Sub-zero temperatures would preserve the tracks in a good state. The commotion here could have taken place a week ago.
What do I think? A mob of people brought something heavy to the tree. One of them was carrying the victim. They shuffled around, especially under the tree. Then, after hoisting him up, they stood in a semicircle facing his direction. At first glance, this appears to be a lynching.
Indeed, they all stood in a row here and looked at the tree. Yes, everything fits so well. Carried him over, hoisted him up, watched him hang. This is easy.
Either way. What else?
The RCM in Martinez. What can I help you with? We don't see a lot of police around here, that's all. Of course. What can I help you with? Sure, I'm done with it. Go easy on that stuff. It gave me a terrible headache. Of course. Where to? What do you mean? Yes, sir. District of Martinez. This intersection is called Roundabout North.
He knows where we are. He just wants directions.
There's the pier, the Cape Side apartment buildings, some more tenements. Not a lot, really. The harbor gates, some kind of commotion, I think. I don't follow the local politics. A fleet store, too. Some shops and a bridge. The canal bridge leads to the coast, but it's broken, I think. Some kind of accident, probably. Just coast. There's a little fishing village there, and a fish market, but that got closed down ages ago. It's just water. No, actually, I think they call it the Martinez Inlet. There are some islands in the bay, but they're hard to reach. No problem.
She's very well composed. Back straight.
Excuse me? Oh, well, I didn't write it there. I'm just sitting here.
You didn't say she wrote it. You asked what it was doing there.
I don't know anything about that either. As I said, I didn't write it.
Pig is a widely used term for members of the police. It's not loving.
No need to worry. We are not saying you did.
Okay. Well, I didn't. Of course. I won't hold you back.
If there's a corpse, Then you're going to need those gloves for the autopsy.
Sure, keep them. I have another pair.
Gander and a hunter and a gatherer, feel like a traveler.
A simple little cadence. He seems to be making it up as he goes.
From another planet. Hey there. It's the jam, my man.
The air from the east is thick with the smell of crude oils, heavy metals and other byproducts of the modern era. You can almost taste it.
It's a traffic jam for the ages. Harbor gates up the street are shut tight. No explanation given. Workers on strike, scabs agitating. An all-around clusterfuck. Meanwhile, we're all stuck here in long-haul limbo for days upon days upon days. Upon days. Feels near forever. Like I was born on this here roundabout and this was all I ever knew. Just me and the metal and the tires, the oil and the fumes of mazout.
Mazout is an antiquated term for heavy fuel oils. This man has a barely suppressed performative streak. Or he just likes unusual words. Or both.
Yeah, imagine. It's been a whole week already. So tell me, what do you need?
Going on strike would probably help you dodge a bullet or two.
Ah, yes, from the Wild Pines. We'll meet her soon enough, I'm sure.
He doesn't blame them, but he's not on their side. That's for sure. He tries his best to look nonchalant, but there's a rigidity in him, as if trying to conceal something warm and deep beneath a cool exterior. It's easy to see he's telling the truth. He's kept his nose out of the dark stuff. Ask for his conclusion. Relax. He's merely joking. A motor lorry, also called a camion, on Caillou and neighboring islands. This one looks roughed up enough to be some sort of found rust bucket. Maybe the A6? The man taps his fingers rhythmically against his arm. The worn and beaten wooden planks of the bench do not look overly comforting.
We can sit on benches after we've solved the murder. Let's go.
This Post Lavanturier mail collection box has been heavily vandalized with graffito. A closer inspection reveals 2 bullet holes in the front. A faint sticker on the side reads, RCM Emergencies Desk number 8102, with a slogan, Mankind, be vigilant. The box seems happy. Eat shit pig, fucked by the coon, and St. G with a crown have been scribbled on it. Jenny is a whore, and best set mailbox also. The mail collection box seems cathartic, thankful even. So do you. You shudder, then you swallow.
Active decay. It's okay to throw up, officer. No one is judging.
He's about to blow! Cop's gonna blow, Kuno!
Hello, sir. Step right in. The store is open. Are you interested in a new and exciting book?
Books? Postcards? Easy. Even a kid would know all of this. Don't be a fool. As an expert, it's your duty to tell what you know to everyone.
Sir, are you okay? You've been standing here silently for a while now. Okay, sir, I'll try to answer any questions you have. I hope they're about books. My name is Annette, sir. My mum, her name is Plaisance. She owns the store. She's inside minding the register or organising the stock. Feel free to step in and browse our wares. I'm signalling that the store is open. Otherwise, people might not know. They'd miss out on the crime, romance, and biographies of famous people. Oh, no, sir. I'm happy to help Mum by luring in customers. Besides, I have some hot juice in my vacuum bottle to keep warm. I do my studies at home at the moment. I have to help Mum keep this place running. Mum says it's necessary to do both because it builds character. Mum says a proper worker is dutiful. That's how you get ahead in life. You succeed.
There is stress and unease behind these words. She's reciting etiquette.
Mum says it's peachy. She was a little afraid at first. There's talk about this house being cursed. Cursed in the way that makes them say that no business has ever really thrived here, sir. That they all go... Exactly, but we've been doing fine so far.
We can go into the bookstore and ask about the case, but I don't see much more to look into here.
Yes, please do also look at our wares inside. The postcards and board games are there, sir. Nothing really, sir. Mum doesn't allow me to sneak around in the back rooms or the cellar. I don't really know what's there.
It does not manifest itself in any way. It does not exist. I liked it better when we were talking about whether it's appropriate to stand out in the freezing weather. No such thing.
Anything else you wanted to talk about, sir? Maybe I can tell you about some of our books instead. Crime fiction is about murders or burglaries or things like that, and the work of a policeman or a private detective who's trying to solve a crime and catch the criminals. And it's kind of like a puzzle too. You can guess who the criminal is or how the good guys are going to catch him. You don't look much like a policeman. Didn't mean to offend, sir. Sorry, sir. It's just that you don't look like Dick Mullen. head, yes.
No, your mind. Not head, child. Heads.
No, he's wicked smart in the stories. Like you, sir, of course. He's just a fictional character. He's no match for you. Maybe you can show me some real police work, sir. Like in the books.
The girl keeps her hands folded, hidden. Why is that?
What do you mean, sir?
She looks around anxiously. Her hands remain folded in front of her. She doesn't want to show them. The lieutenant stands by, looking at the two of you with little interest. She brings out her reddened hands, her nails frayed, nearly chewed down to the flesh.
And you knew this from me keeping my hands folded? Well, that proves nothing. Anyone could do an easy deduction like that.
She nods, half provocative, half enthusiastic.
Maybe so, sir. Okay, I know it's a bad habit, and I shouldn't. It was okay, sir.
There's more that can be achieved here. Ask her to do the same.
You're quite sober.
The lieutenant does not flinch at the comment. He does not flinch even a single bit. He is intensely not flinching. It takes effort.
Because you usually aren't. I sure hope you are, sir.
There she stands, swaying on her feet, assaulted by the early spring breeze. She smiles at you. The whole situation suddenly feels familiar, somehow. There's something you're missing.
It's the type of book where there's a rich lady and she has to choose between the good man and the bad man. Or there could be a story about a poor lady getting a rich man. It's about man and lady business, sir. That's really not a proper romance story. That's more like everyday life. Not in romance books, sir. These are about nice and pretty people, and everyone is happy in the end. It happens, but usually the guy gets rich in the process, or should actually be rich himself, but has lost his family property unjustly, like during the revolution or something. Those are unhappy books, for most of the pages. People sad about what they have lost, but then it all turns out just fine in the end. These are not very common. You can't have a choice between bad and bad. Nobody wants to read a story like that. Well, maybe then it's fine. Maybe if the lady then decides not to pick either, because she doesn't need a bad man. Yes, that would be interesting. I haven't read many of those. Maybe you should ask Mum. I don't think it's a romance story if the main characters break up, though. No, I don't know. Yes, she knows books, definitely.
What was that? An idea for an unfinished novel stuck somewhere in your forebrain?
Maybe some about other books? Oh, kings and queens and generals of old, or artists and writers, or musicians, those kinds of people. There's usually something extraordinary about them. I think that's why people read them, to find the secrets of their fame.
Seems like most people who read those books fail to get more famous from reading them.
But it does make the famous people more famous. Okay, sir.
Have you no shame? Whining about your back every time you bring out the measuring tape.
Honey, you're a man with a fork in a world of soup. Please, let's just try to enjoy the game, all right?
I'm trying to, but you keep breaking my concentration. You're old. I can see that. We're both old. Now stop grabbing your ass like it's a girl.
These manly men are playing balls. This is a ball game. Grab a ball and play it. don't ask questions. Shoot first. Ask questions never. That's the spirit. Don't even waste your breath asking about the game. They wouldn't know anyway. They're way past their prime. You are immediately surprised by the ball's lack of weight. No matter, you'll make it work. The cold metal ball is surprisingly smooth against your neck. It has a pattern on it, probably a sponsored ball. Yours would only be covered with bumps of learning and scars of victory. Already your muscles are adjusting to the weight, the nervous system calibrating, until you and the ball have merged into a single entity. The man ball is ready. A chilly breeze ruffles your hair as you stand there, feet firmly planted. All sounds, smells, even the wind, everything fades until the only thing left is the union of man and ball. An embodiment of pure motion, a fine-tuned locomotor running at maximum efficiency.
Merde! Bordel de merde!
A whorehouse of shit. It wasn't whorehouse of shit. The shot was at least 23 meters, probably 24, and then some. Nothing to be embarrassed about.
What the hell is your problem? You vandalized our game, son! We can't play pétanque with 5 pool! Well, it damn well isn't. It's pétanque. You ruined a pétanque game. We want our pool back.
Take it easy, René. This is just a misunderstanding, isn't it, officer? No harm done.
Of course there's harm done, you orange slug. You owe us a goddamn pool. Good. Mistakes are forgiven, when men at least try to right their wrongs. I believe you will try. Now, why did you approach us?
Yes, why did you come here? It's unlikely they know anything about the murder.
Unfortunately, I don't. Unlike most of the locals, I have no qualms about assisting law enforcement. But this affair has passed me by completely. In Martinez, the Union is the law. So can you really blame them? Cop is a pejorative term. I don't have a problem with policemen. On the contrary, I admire the effort to bring order to our streets.
He doesn't know about the crime. Your time is better spent discussing politics.
I'm confident they are indispensable in regard to all the paperwork and other administrative duties. But you must agree that nature, in her infinite wisdom, has made men more fit to perform certain, more challenging tasks. Don't you, officer? Really, officer. Match an average woman against an average man in a dark alley and see who comes out on top. Gender equality is a very noble, very modern idea. But in real life, primal roles prevail. But I do not wish to discuss this matter further. Yes, the terrain here provides an interesting variety to a familiar game. I do. Fire from heavy artillery. Why what? Because that's what happens when communards hijack your country, execute your supreme leadership, and turn your capital into a slaughterhouse. You use heavy ordnance to clean up your home. Commies, communists, socialists, anarchists, call them what you like. They just chose the name to feel special. Senseless sentimentality. Sadly, no. It was the foreigners who brought them to their knees. We fought valiantly. Too valiantly. So valiantly we got licked. Should have fought dirty, like they did with their suicide sex cult propaganda and mad anarchist women strapped to shrapnel bombs. We didn't though, and we lacked caliber. God bless him, but the suzerain's cannons simply weren't big enough.
It was probably a bit more complicated than that.
Because this place is a damn beachhead. Had to soften the commies up first. Yes, the military coordinated amphibious landing to take back Revachol. Martinez was used as one of the 3 footholds in Revachol during Operation Deathblow in 08. The other 2 are off in Stella Maris and the Delta. This here is Blood Ground, where Coalition boots first made landfall and cleaned those rabid dogs out. Most likely, we're playing pétanque on their mangled corpses.
Blood Ground. You got old René going there. Like he isn't hungry enough already.
Don't get me wrong, officer. I hate those foreign dogs, but the enemy of my enemy and all that. They're the lesser evil. Damn right, son. They laid the fire of hell on the city before they stormed it. And it worked, too. The rest of the city got cleaned up, but Martinez they keep as a monument. And now the Union Socialists are practically running the place.
Well, it's your own damn fault. You, we, the Coalition, Revachol, whoever you want to blame, never finished the job. Officially, the party never surrendered. Of course they still hold influence.
You don't even begin to truly understand the players at the table, let alone the specific circumstances surrounding the... What do you think?
Thinking men have opinions on these things. Present one.
Preposterous! Surely you don't mean it. I'm just sorry it had to be them. After 8 years of fighting those commie hyenas, boiling cats for food and drinking my piss in the mountains. I would have preferred if the Right Honorable King Guillaume returned through Revachol, or even if that damn clan Frisel had risen from the grave and led us. Sadly, that was not the case. Instead, all that is just, holy, and beautiful in the world was wiped away, and now it's neon signs with toothpaste ads everywhere. Foreign influence peddling garbage and stupid music on the radio. This is just what the commies wanted. This was their plan all along. This is what they wanted to replace the role of the suzerain with. Damn Frisel. He was the king we couldn't protect. The Carabineers failed him, and the crown. He died in the hands of the Hyperlay, in a very public execution.
He slouches as he says that. It makes him smaller, admitting they left the king to the mob.
A true king in both blood and mind led Revachol before Frisel. He would have been better, but the damn commies drove him into exile.
Some manner of self-deceit is present in his thinking. Sounds like this Guillaume abandoned him, and he doesn't want to admit it.
The suzerain is the king! Has everyone forgotten already? They've forgotten already. It's no use talking to you. You were still in Daddy's borders when it happened. When we took our last stand against the Filth and rode the cavalry straight into gunfire.
I have really outdone myself. This is divine.
Yes, that's what you need, Gaston. More padding on that fat arse of yours. I hope your heart gives out.
René, it's a little pleasures. Life doesn't need to be a struggle. Hello, officer. How might I be of assistance on this fine day? Let me think. I heard someone was hanged and left on a tree for a week, but that's all I know, really. No, officers, I'm sorry, and I really would like to assist. You are both good guys. I can see that.
Then help them, you wimp. You have plenty of shoulder with the ghost caviar in the Union. Someone must know something.
He means caviar socialists.
I wish I could, but I just don't know anything. I always keep my nose clean and don't gossip. Everyone knows and respects that.
Odd. He doesn't seem to be lying, but there's something off here.
I'm not. I'm not even anyone.
Of course he's holding back. His mouth is so full of Union prick he can't even speak properly.
Can I at least finish my fucking sentence before you piss on it? Is that okay, René? I'm not anyone important in the Union. I just know Evrard. Everyone in Martinez knows the Clare brothers. I taught these boys human studies and history in the gymnasium.
What do you know about history? You never witnessed history. Only heard about it years later, when it had already moved on. You don't know history.
There he stands, proud, rigid and alone, like a cracking marble statue.
Let's try not to get caught in a crossfire.
Oh, in many ways, yes. Like an honorary member. I attend meetings and parties, help with little things. Evrard, Edgar, and the older debarders all know me. Not in the technical sense. I don't have a vote or a membership card, but Evrard keeps me on the payroll, just for the little things.
So that's what it was before. Him hiding something. He tries to make it look like he's a big deal in the Union, and now the illusion is disintegrating before your and René's eyes. He doesn't know anything, because no one tells him anything. He's an outsider.
Of course he's not a member. He's not a member of anything. I knew that. He's a Vezavane. Turns to where the wind blows and tries to look important. I hate the socialist rabble, but even siding with them is better than living your entire life on the fence, never committing to anything. Pick a damn side already.
Writing work mostly. Occasionally, he needs something written, and I happen to have a way with words, people say. Oh, nothing official, I assure you. Just essays for the newspapers. About Martinez and how things are and how they could be. Evrard and I had these long talks where...
Well, he tells his little pen man exactly what to say. It's commie propaganda, plain and simple. You should be ashamed of yourself.
I don't even consider myself a regular socialist. Politics is not really something I involve myself in, officer. Officer, I have a vivid imagination. And like I said, I have a way with words. That's enough. No need to sink into politics.
He just fluffs it up.
Of course. Don't sink into anything. Don't sink into any fight. Only sink into your couch.
I believe everyone has the right to think and do whatever they want. Even if it's nothing at all. I'm very adaptable.
Mon Dieu.
No, thank you. For being consummate professionals. You'll have this case wrapped up in no time.
The sight of bullet holes stirs something in you, making you forget the lieutenant's surname. The faded marks are too degraded to draw any forensic conclusions, just chips in the sandstone. They look pretty ancient.
Where? There? Those are old. These bullets were fired during the Revolution, over half a century ago. They do not warrant investigation. Not much. I don't have a fresh perspective on it. Shall we go?
Good afternoon, officers. I'm Joyce. Joyce L. Messier. I represent the board of Wild Pines, the owners of the harbour. You gentlemen must be from the RCM. Peyton, my maiden name. Nothing, honestly. I've said it to every drunk in town, and you're the first one who's responded.
Relax. She meant it in jest.
I'm glad to see you here.
Like steel. There is strength there. If she wanted, she could sink her nails deep into your skin.
I was dispatched to handle a strike, not a lynching. Anything I can do to assist the RCM in this matter, I will, gladly.
That is good to hear, madame. My colleague will take the lead on this interview. I should let you know that he is recovering from an unusual medical episode. Very unusual. But I can assure you of his ultimate competency.
He's trying to signal something. He wants you to play up your condition. It happens quicker than a shooting star. But did the lieutenant just wink at you?
How interesting. I wish you a swift recovery. In the meanwhile, you have my full cooperation, and the full cooperation of the Wild Pines group. What we do. I'm afraid I don't speak for Wild Pines as a whole. It's a giant undertaking.
There was a touch of discomfort there. She wants to merely represent.
The Pines' core competency is logistics. Container shipping, freight, that sort of thing. See those airships there, blinking? Those are the shipping side of things. And that is the terminal. Another subdivision deals with energy, oil and gas exploration, offshore platforms. Why, thank you. I'm not at liberty to discuss the company balance sheet, but I can tell you that last year, the company booked more than 20 billion real in revenue. 20 billion is a large number, but the conglomerate employs 72,000 people. They all need to be paid. Then there are capital improvements, interest payments. A conglomerate the size of the Wild Pines is like a shark. If it stops moving, it will die. Then what becomes of those 72,000 families? It's a tremendous responsibility. They started as an exploration and cargo fleet conducting trade between the Samaran and Insulindian Isolas 250 years ago, when Pine ships explored the South Seminese and charted Lomantang on behalf of the suzerain. Centuries of care, deliberation, and madness have gone into this endeavor. Vessels pass through the great unrest to re-emerge with apricots in tow. The logic of the system is totalizing. It's taken everything from its employees to build it. You mean aside from being the terminal's legal owners, who are responsible for moving 8% of the world's cargo? There are no minor cogs in the system. Each terminal must be accounted for, lest the entire system break. Every hiccup in such a system means thousands lose their jobs, the world over. I'm here to assure that doesn't happen. Everything. Right up to, but not including, trade secrets. First, you'd have to repeal the Emergencies Act of Trade in Aliments. That gives me the right to silence. It's quite the octopus. I am glad you see it that way. To repeal the Act would mean repealing the coalition government, the one that leases you the right to police West Revachol.
You'd be shooting yourself in the foot, in other words.
But I am derailing us. You wanted to know about the strike. I believe the official title is Senior Labour Negotiator. In practice, I'm a grocery clerk. I relay the union's demands to Wild Pines and return with Wild Pines' counteroffer.
And how are the talks going?
They're not. That's the problem. The union stopped all negotiations a week ago, after that awful lynching took place.
Wait, she just admitted that the lynching and the strike are connected.
Now they won't even let me into the harbour. There's a 2-meter-20 racist behemoth blocking the gates. What can I say? The union employs a giant covered in tattoos. A racist giant. I guess that's part of their big tent organization now. Yes, I believe there is a connection, but that's a subject for later. Let's say I was not making the kind of progress I'd hoped for when I first arrived.
And when did you first arrive?
I arrived 3 weeks ago. Yes, in the middle of February. The bay was still partially frozen then. I prefer to do these things on site, like the RCM.
But the strike began in December.
I wasn't the original negotiator here. I took over after Mr. Gaumont hit a wall with Mr. Clare, the union boss. Mr. Clare refused to speak with Gaumont despite concessions he'd granted the union in prior negotiations.
This isn't the first time the union has gone on strike?
Heavens no. There have been 2 prior strikes. Both times the union won significant concessions, including overtime pay and a medical plan. This time their demands are more, I guess you could say, aggressive.
Ludicrous even. It's meant.
Mr. Clare told him to... how did he put it? Fuck off, midget. Gaumont is short of stature, you see. Keep in mind, this is a negotiator Mr. Clare has worked with before, and who was more than fair with him and the union. There are leaflets everywhere, and banners. What did they say again? Oh yes. Every worker, a member of the board.
Most of the workers probably don't know what that means.
In its defense, another said, demand democracy. Pretty tame stuff compared to every worker, a member of the board. Fortunately, they explained it. Every time the Wild Pines group makes a decision about anything, it needs the signature of each of the 2,200 workers in its Martinez terminal. Just so you understand, this is but one of 22 terminals owned by Wild Pines. Essentially, not only are they kings of the company, they are also kings of the 72,000 employees of Wild Pines Group.
An opening gambit, surely.
That may well be. It's not up to me to decide who is king, but as negotiations go, it's not a swell start. So I hoped. But this type of opening is usually followed by a more reasonable offer. I've yet to hear one. Just the same nonsensical slogan repeated over and over again. And now, people are getting lynched, I hear. Behind the whirling in rags. A disastrous situation if there ever was one.
Excuse me, from whom did you hear about this lynching?
I first heard it from the bowyer at the gates. The one whose very name advertises his aversion to work. I think he said it was, "Call me mañana."
This checks out.
Everard Clare is a man of the utmost integrity. If you can say one thing about him, it's that he always puts the interests of the workers first.
She's being sarcastic. Don't take her performance literally.
Of course not. Everard is fantastically corrupt. I imagine he has a thick, viscous goo where you and I have blood.
If you were to prick it with something sharp, you could see it oozing out. A knife, maybe? No, a rapier.
Oh, heavens, no. We get along just fine. Yet, now that you mention it, I can't stop imagining that black treacle just dribbling down his double chin. He is the most corrupt individual I have ever seen, and I deal with men like him for a living. If there is anyone more venal, more irredeemably nepotistic, then it's his twin brother, Edgar. Yes, Edgar looks exactly like his brother, except for that lazy eye. He also talks exactly like Everard does, and when one's term as foreman is up, the other takes over. It's how they circumvent the term limits, you see, with a funny little switcheroo. While in office, they've embezzled God knows how much of their workers' dues. The Débardeurs Union was once a perfectly normal institution. 20 years ago, anyway. It must not have been easy to establish under the Emergency Act, but they did it. I can respect that. Organised labour at its best, as they say. Then something happened in the local chapter elections. The brothers Clare came and transformed it into a... how do you say...
A mob. The Débardeurs are a crime syndicate. Sad as it may be, I suspect we'll be forced to cooperate with them.
Refreshingly honest, officer. The company has tried appeasing in the past, but I'm afraid our concessions have only emboldened Everard and his brother. And your opinion, detective, if I may ask? I'm a curious and talkative person, you see. Would you say the Débardeurs Union is... Why do you think so?
What she calls corruption is simply an aesthetic category.
Point taken. But enough about Everard. What else can I do for you? I'm glad you asked. There was a woman, the previous forewoman of the Union. She disappeared.
Disappeared?
Yes. On the last day of the local chapter elections, her daughter phoned in and said she wasn't running anymore, or coming to work. Ever. End of story.
This forewoman, her name?
Sadly, the company records do not even give a name. She's just forewoman in private correspondence, Holly. I don't even know if it's a sir or given name, and I don't have access to the Union's files. Downright haunting, if you ask me. The Wild Pines suspected foul play, but what could they do? It was a Union matter. The point of the presentation is, these kinds of things happen around the Clares. Watch out when you're dealing with him.
Thank you for your concern, ma'am. We'll be just fine.
Of course. How else can I help? Why, yes I am. Of course there are. We're on an archipelago. How else are you supposed to get around? I mean, we are on Le Caillou, are we not? I haven't seen anyone else drive a souped-up Capri Kenema motor carriage either.
Actually, that motor carriage has been specially issued to serve as a patrol and pursuit vehicle. It's for crossing long distances in the greater Revachol industrial harbor. It's not a toy.
Neither is this. A toy, I mean. It's a machine for crossing long distances in the Bay of Revachol, between the city and the islands.
You need to make this lady admit she's only riding around on this boat because she's rich. Before you do, it would be pertinent to ask other questions. Gather more info on this boat of hers.
The boat? No. It is called Cordelati 19 because that's the type of sloop it is. It's a pleasure craft, a 19 pacer. It also happens to be rated for Category 1 racing. Though it's a pleasure craft, a 19 pacer. It also happens to be rated for Category 1 racing. Though these days I mainly use it for business. My sloop? I like it a lot. It's the eel's hips, baby.
I'm enjoying this part of the interview. It has so little to do with the murder we're investigating.
Officer, I assure you I'm a highly qualified pleasure craft operator.
The crowns of her teeth are porcelain, white as the boat's hull as she smiles.
Oh my, the E word. You mean to say that it's a symbol of conspicuous consumption? That I'm a member of the ruling class?
Detective, may I remind you that Mrs. Messier is a professional negotiator.
Then what does that say? Does it say docking reserved for residents of Rue de Saint-Ghislain, 33A? 33A? This old proletarian haunt here? As I said, plenty of people drive boats, of all social strata. Okay. Of course.
Nothing happens for quite a while.
As they do.
The thoughts happen inside his brain.
It doesn't.
My, it's as if there's a tiny spinner on the side of his head and he's reeling thoughts out.
Except he isn't.
No worries. We can just go back to discussing my fast, large, interminably middle-class boat. Good. Quite a few things, I'm afraid. The information I'm to share with you includes sensitive trade secrets. For the sake of my employer, I have to ask for your names and badge numbers.
Of course, ma'am. We should have introduced ourselves. I am Lieutenant Kitsuragi from Precinct 57. And this is my colleague from Precinct 41. I'm afraid he doesn't have his badge at the moment. I hope mine will suffice.
How curious. Why is that, Detective? I see. So, are you saying you lost your badge during the course of this episode? I can't hear you, darling. Speak up, please. Oh, dear. I suppose this does explain some of the more curious turns in our conversation.
She must have been suspecting something for a while now.
As I said, ma'am, his technique may be very unconventional, but he is an officer of the RCM.
Of course, I sympathize, but I'm afraid I simply can't share anything more until I've seen that badge.
She's a professional negotiator. She should be open to some sort of mutually beneficial arrangement.
Of course. But before we do, officers, let me be perfectly clear. The situation is extremely volatile. The sooner we can speak about this lynching business, the better for all of us. Of course, Detective. Take care.
Guillaume Le Million. Bad news. Guillaume Le Million did not become a cop. In 38, he went on a tour to the Sinyao province in Safre, where he died of autoerotic asphyxiation. His body was found hanging from a decorative dragon tree in his junior suite, amid drug paraphernalia, unwholesome objects, and the Sylvia Traynor single, Wonderland, skipping in the background. And yes, you can take this as a metaphor for Revachol in the 30s, and also as a warning. Word on the street is you're ready to start building communism again. Yes, you're ready to start building communism again. You've built it before. They've built it before. Hasn't really worked out yet. But neither has love. Should we just stop building love, too? Good. We need tender men like you building gargantuan communism. Word on the street is it's going to be 10,000 times larger than any communism previously attempted by human beings. Is that right? You keep saying things like, down with the bourgeoisie, eat the rich, sodomize the landowners, impale all people who have more than 25 real in their pocket, literally murder all human beings regardless of their political beliefs. That kind of stuff. Oh yes, the mask of ambivalence. Don't deny it. You're about to rip it off and reveal the monstrous seven-eyed lamb of global communism that would devour and masticate mankind. Everyone can see that. So tell me, do you have any questions before we fire up the big communism builder? Or do we get right down to it? Failure. It's about failure. Yes, abject failure. Total, irreversible defeat on all fronts. Absolutely vanquished, beaten, curb-stomped and pissed on. Until you came along. You will reverse the fortune of the workers of the world. You alone, against every living thing, against every human alive. 800 trillion real in the hands of an impossibly well-organized ruling class. Towering city blocks of bankmen who have the ears of prime ministers. Million-headed armies of nations and the love of your own mother. You against the atom, the charm and the spin, where the whole world failed. Matter failed to bend to human will. Human will failed to get out of bed and tie its laces. You alone, single-handedly, will rebuild the dreams of the working class. You are the last communist. Now get to work, comrade. Very well. I guess no one will build communism then. Tell the working man it's over, unless anyone has objections. No objections. It's mathematically impossible to achieve a classless society. Everyone knows this. Anyone? Anyone else? There's no one? There's no one. Okay then, lie down and let the water carry you downstream.
I help you? Yes, have you got it? A lot. A lot. For the room, drinks, and broken window, 130 real. Like what? I was rarely enjoying talking about the money you owe me.